In a world filled with so many mysteries, it is often easy to overlook that history has its fair share of enigmas too. Enigmatic and puzzling events that, despite all our advancements and historical understanding, still have no definite answers. Among these historical enigmas is one that is so fantastical, so uncanny, that it treads the thin line between myth and reality, conspiracy theory and historical fact. The story is about the tomb of Timur, better known as Tamerlane, a Turco-Mongol conqueror, and the alleged curse that resided within it. In this tale, we'll explore if the so-called Curse of Tamerlane was responsible for one of the bloodiest battles in World War II, the Battle of Stalingrad. As we delve into this mysterious tale, it's essential to familiarize ourselves with Tamerlane, or Timur. He was a fearsome and respected conqueror from the late 14th century who established the Timurid Empire in Persia and Central Asia, and became known for his military strategies and tactics. When he died in 1405, he was buried in a jade tomb in Samarkand, a city in modern-day Uzbekistan. Inscribed on his tomb were the words, "When I rise from the dead, the world shall tremble." It is said that another inscription read, "Whoever opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I." These foreboding words are what sparked the legend of the curse. Now, fast forward to 1941, in the midst of World War II. Stalin, the then leader of the Soviet Union, was looking for ways to boost the morale of his people who were at war with Hitler's Nazi Germany. His anthropologists suggested opening the tomb of Tamerlane in the hopes that this would restore a sense of national pride and history among the Soviet people. However, they ignored the inscriptions and the warnings. On June 20th, 1942, Soviet scientists, led by anthropologist Mikhail M. Gerasimov, opened the tomb. They discovered the skeletal remains of Tamerlane, and the scientists proceeded to conduct studies on them. The opening of the tomb received widespread media attention, which eventually reached the ears of Hitler. The news led him to believe that the Soviets were in disarray, and this perception spurred Hitler to push forward with his plans to invade the Soviet Union. It was just 2 days after the tomb was opened that Hitler launched Operation Blue, his strategic plan for the summer offensive against the Soviet Union. The offensive eventually led to the Battle of Stalingrad, which began on August 23, 1942. It turned out to be one of the bloodiest battles in the history of warfare, resulting in nearly 2 million casualties. The Battle of Stalingrad was a brutal, grueling conflict that stretched on for 5 months. A constant exchange of heavy artillery fire and street-to-street fighting. It was a battle that reflected the absolute worst of human brutality, one that showcased the devastating and horrifying potential of warfare. This grim and horrific event has since been regarded as a turning point in World War II, where the tide began to turn against the Axis powers. Now, coming back to the alleged curse. Given the sequence of events, it's easy to understand why some people connect the opening of Tamerlane's tomb with the outbreak of the Battle of Stalingrad. There's a chilling synchronicity between the warnings inscribed on the tomb and the tragedy that unfolded. The invader more terrible mentioned in the curse could be interpreted as Hitler, whose brutality was indeed more horrifying than that of Tamerlane. This lends an eerie credibility to the theory that the Curse of Tamerlane might have been more than mere superstition. But let's also consider this from a logical and scientific standpoint. Correlation does not always imply causation. While it's true that the events occurred in close succession, it's also true that Hitler had been planning his offensive against the Soviet Union well before the tomb was opened. The Nazi forces had been mobilizing for months in preparation for Operation Blue. It could very well be that the opening of the tomb and the outbreak of the Battle of Stalingrad were simply two unrelated events that happened to occur at the same time. Despite this, one cannot completely dismiss the strange sequence of events that followed the opening of the tomb. Coincidence or not, it certainly makes for a compelling story. Even the Soviets seemed to take the curse seriously. In 1943, when the tide of the battle started to turn against the Germans, Tamerlane's remains were reburied with full Islamic rites. Whether this was out of genuine fear of the curse or just as a move to appease the public is something we can only speculate on. In conclusion, while there is no definitive proof that the curse of Tamerlane caused the Battle of Stalingrad, it's undeniable that the two events are eerily intertwined. The legend of the curse serves as a potent reminder of the power of myths and the enduring fascination humans have with the unknown. It's a story that blurs the lines between fact and fiction, a tale of possible supernatural intervention in one of the most gruesome chapters of human history. The truth of whether Tamerlane's curse was responsible for the Battle of Stalingrad is something we may never know. What we do know is that the tale of Tamerlane's curse is a chilling anecdote that adds a dash of supernatural intrigue to the already complex tapestry of World War II history.